Hey everyone, welcome to the show. This is an odd place to start it from. You probably know where I am. I'm right behind the Highland Cinema down here. You know where it is. I'm in that weird parking lot that you get stuck in if you don't. Ready to go into, there's a 48-hour film festival challenge that's being played this evening, so I'm going to go in and watch the movies. So I just wanted to say hello and welcome to the show here, just in case I don't get a chance to talk to anybody in there. You never know. I hope I can get in there to talk to some people. Whether they'll be willing to talk to me or not, we'll see.
Yep,
Yeah,
that'll work.
good enough.
Okay, excellent.
All right, well there we go.
Great.
There we go. Just I went the other day to the 48-hour film festival over at the Highland there, and that's always fun. That's I like a good stress made.
Yeah. No.
But all that to say, ladies and gentlemen, that I didn't actually get a chance to go in and talk to them afterwards. So welcome to this portion of the show. Welcome back, Adam. Please, once again, introduce yourself. I got you there. I got you here.
Excellent. I'm Adam Corrigan Holowitz. I'm the artistic director of Elviga Root Theatre, and I work as a director for theatre, a playwright, a dramaturg, and occasionally an actor.
That's yeah. Sometimes you got to fill in, right?
Yeah.
You have a lot of hats, sir. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Which just to start the conversation off, which hat do you like the best?
I think between directing, dramaturgy, and playwriting, all equally inform each other. So I would not be as happy if I wasn't doing all three. I think those three fit as a practice in a way that are there is overlap. Also, you should be aware of where one job ends and one begins. When you're the director of a new play, but you're not the dramaturg of that new play, there's a different way of talking in the room. When you're the director and dramaturg of a new play, it's a different, it changes the relationship. But there's overlaps for sure. In the theater, other things that I enjoy doing that I'm not an expert on. With a lot of the plays I direct, I also design them.
Okay.
I'm not someone who would design someone else's play because I can talk to myself as I do that. It's part of that directing process.
Now, our audience here, all over the place, right? So, what does that mean when you say when you design a show? Because I think I know what it means.
Yeah, absolutely. It's design for theater is one big umbrella, and depending on the kind of show, it might be split up into separate jobs. There's usually a lighting designer who designs the lighting designer's job is not just to make sure everyone's seen. Mm-hmm. It's also to create shape. It's a sculptural art form, lighting design. You are playing with shadow and negative space, and you're figuring out how to create an environment that is with something that is very intangible, which is light and energy. Really great lighting designers often, I think, can be very aware of heat. And that's how they can feel. And we talk about actors. Gets sometimes referred to, in people sometimes probably have heard the term about actors finding their light.
Yes.
And that's kind of a mysterious thing sometimes. Really, it means if you can feel the heat, you get a sense of where you are. Yeah. With LEDs, it's a little different now. Yes. But LEDs still do give off heat, contrary to popular belief. Yeah. So there's usually a lighting designer who's separate. Depending on the scale of the show, the costume designer who studies, not just, again, picking how someone... It's not just picking out clothes, it's looking at the period. How is, even a recent play, even a play that's set in 1985, like the one we're working on right now, is different than 2026. There's huge changes in fashion, even if we all consider that still our modern world to a degree.
Yeah. It's incremental enough that when you do that big of a jump.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, anything before iPhones is a period piece. Yeah. It changes a lot about how we move and communicate and all that. And then set design, which is, again, the world of the play, the physical world. I was taught. I had the good fortune of having a couple design classes when I was at York from a really great Canadian designer, Teresa Shablisky.
Okay.
I didn't study set design, but I had the chance to take some of those classes involved with directing and dramaturgy at York when I was there. And Teresa's motto is that you design an environment, not a set. And that's my guiding point when I'm designing a set. And that's also why directing and design for me come together a lot, is because as the director and the designer of a play, I'm thinking not about what the show's going to look like purely. I'm also thinking about how it's going to feel for the actor, how that's going to support the performance for the actor, and how that's going to create an impact on the audience. It starts really with dimensions. If you design a stage that's 40 feet by 40 feet, that's a very different world for 4 actors to live in than designing a space that is 12 feet by 12 feet, or really narrow, 6 feet by 12 feet.
Right.
That just the limitations or the scope of space is the first environmental consideration. Next thing is, what is the actor walking on? What's the flooring feeling like? That changes a lot of things. If you're walking on gravel, that changes your performance compared to if you're walking on linoleum.
Yeah. Or a tap stage.
Or a carpet. Yeah. These are all things that change the environment of the play. And then the next thing is the shapes, the architecture. Are you creating shapes with levels, with objects that can be malleable for the actor to use in different ways to sit and inhabit? And when you create the environment, an environment that's conducive, that gives enough options and limitations for the actor to play with creatively, then you have the result is that when you're directing, you're of course being very hands-on, and you're working all the details. But there are moments where the actor can inhabit that environment, and the environment's going to inform the performance, and they can do things on their own that you might want them to do without having to say that's what you want them to do, and you can let them exist in that environment. And that's when I think audiences tend to lean forward, is because they go, oh, I feel like I really am in a room with someone. And they're existing, and they've got actions. I also think that style of theater, which has its roots in naturalism and theater practitioners like Michael Chekhov and Meyerhold and Grotowski and Stanford Meisner.
Looking all these names up.
This kind of that turn of the century naturalism. It's not about being realistic. It's about creating something that feels authentic for the performance, and that's really what modern acting is. And I think I've noticed something recently that's been making me curious, which is sometimes audiences get uncomfortable or on edge when they see something that feels so real, because I think a lot of time now in a lot of television acting, depending on what channel you're watching, can be a very much a house style or an artifice. And there's a lot of kind of performative, kind of looking out to the audience in a lot of theater now, which is going back like 100 years of progress in acting. But I've had people recently who they go, I felt really on edge because I felt like I was being a voyeur into someone's life because it felt so real.
This venue as well really lends that itself, because I came to saw Loose, fantastic by the way, very impressive. But I could have reached out and picked your actor's nose if I really wanted to, right? So it was definitely, there were a few moments where there was an uncomfortable shift, and the people beside me, you could hear them, Do you think that the proliferation of media in the world has increased our want for better? I say better. Better's not a great term, but like as you say, we've gone in the last 100 years or so, we've stepped forward. I'd say even in the last 40 years.
Oh, absolutely. The thing that kind of I think has made me like I think we had the last 40 years of acting, TV or stage acting, has gotten really advanced technique-wise, because in North America, at least, first half of the 20th century, a lot of acting was based on a mistranslation, which was USA American actors and acting teachers not understanding what Stanislavski wrote in Russian and doing fairly poor translations of the Russian into English.
Right. And
that's where a lot of abuse came from too in acting training. When you go back to the Meyerhold Stanislavski, this school of acting, it's very mystical. It's very creative. It's very magical. It's not like, oh, you have to enter this room. Everything has to be really realistic. It's much more creative and very exciting. And then I think someone I think who, someone who I think changed how North American acting was done is Stanford Meisner, who took a lot of the earlier method acting, but made it simpler in a way, but also much more in the moment. It wasn't about premeditating all your choices, coming with a lot of a character study, having done in advance, but being in the room with your acting cohort and responding in them and being really attuned as the actor's instrument to what is happening and how you respond on very nuanced levels. So famously, his first class when he was teaching, he's been passed away for a long time now, but he would ask the students to listen to the traffic outside the window, and then he'd say, okay, how many of you were playing good students listening to the traffic, and how many of you were just listening to the traffic? And so kind of the foundational part of Meisner's work is the repetition exercise, which is where you have two people looking at each other and you go, you're uncomfortable. I'm uncomfortable. You're uncomfortable. I'm uncomfortable. And back and forth.
Okay.
And then you go, until you decide for a change, until a change organically happens. You're all right. No, I'm not all right. Or I am all right. And it's about reading your scene partner and based in the room, which that I think fundamentally changed how acting in North America works. Okay. And to an extent, like English speaking world, probably to a degree.
Little less rigid from the power dynamic between director and actor. Like it sounds to me like you're giving your actor a little bit more leeway.
You definitely are, and and when I'm directing in a room, I'm really interested in seeing how many times we can play theme and variation. How many times we can say, okay, if I add this condition. Another acting teacher I had, Alice McMacken, talked about adding conditions for an actor. Kind of like there's a thing called the conditioned piano, where like you could put like a stone in a piano and it would change how the piano plays, obviously, or a stick or whatever, and that you can add conditions to the scene. So you can say, okay, can we try this in? But if we add this condition, if we add that you really want to leave the room this time, how does that change your act tactics? How does it change how your scene partner's reading you? And so we got to do a lot of that in Loose, which was lovely. The play we're doing right now, Take the Big Picture, is a lot. There's a lot more happening. It's a much more epic story, but the actors was still the same principle at play. But a lot of times in this play, the actors are saying, "Well, actually, my character." These things happen while we don't see them, and when we see them again, they've changed in this way. So you're not necessarily with the characters for a committed amount of time in the same way. I think the thing that concerns me with where acting maybe is going, and I've been really conscious at Elvira now, we're really, our new goal is to be a theater for playwrights and actors, an actor and playwrights theater, because I feel like those are the two areas that are getting kind of short shrift a lot of the time right now. We expect actors, live theater right now, a lot of big theaters expect actors to be a rather utilitarian artist. They say, okay, well, you can rehearse for 9 days or 10 days and then be up and ready to go. First of all, it's expecting actors to do a lot of time off the clock, which I have a problem with. The other thing it does is it does not give the audience, it doesn't sell theater. If you think about who the audience spends time with, when they come to the theater, the audience is not spending time with the director. They're not spending time with the playwright. They're not spending time with the designers, all of whom are very important. They're spending time with the actors. And if we're not giving the actors time to create performances that are really going to make us lean in and hold our breath and go, oh, that's what theater's about. Well, then we're not. What are we doing? We're not selling theater. We're not making a case for theater.
Yeah. Well, you say that too because, like you say, the actor is the conduit, right?
Oh,
like you say, you're not spending time with the director, but
you are in a way
by proxy, right?
By proxy.
Yeah. But so if your actor is not equipped with what you want, okay,
and it's great, and and actors are brilliant, and they find ways to work in reduced situations. But what we don't get the chance to do in those situations is create something that makes people remember 25 years from now.
Yes.
Remember that night we saw that play, and oh my Lord, did they do something amazing?
Yeah.
The chances of that happening don't happen as much.
It tends to be the other opposite, unfortunate.
Yeah.
You remember that play we saw 25 years ago?
Or worse yet, you don't forget it. I'd rather people hate a play or love a play. Yes. The worst thing that happens, people walk up and go, oh, okay, what's for dinner? Or, oh, there's an ice cream place there we can go to.
Let's kind of bring it back to where we're at right now. Do you approach every show, like this show that's going on right now, that's a completely different, like it's theater in the round at its worst and best, right? Versus this, which is different, but still more of a people are sitting and watching.
They're sitting and watching.
Sort of do you approach the shows the same way?
We do, because at the Pioneer Village, they used to do promenade theater. People go building to building. Yeah. We now, for as long as we've been doing shows out there, we're in one building. So the space we're in, of course, none of them are theater designed. No. Everyone's in common light, which is a great way to work when you can do it, and it changes how you build it because you know we talk about lighting design, and I love designing lights for plays I'm directing, but in this case, the biggest thing I think is that how do you tell the story? How do you let the audience know the play's over without anything going dark? And without saying, okay, we're done now, folks. Thanks very much. So I think it's actually great training for beginner directors too. Okay. To have directors have to direct a play that's in a full environment. We're not being asked as the audience to ignore something. We're not. Please ignore us when we move these things around because normally the lights be off. No. To be able to tell a whole story holistically in one propulsion of energy for 95 minutes. Without lights being able to be part of that storytelling. That's a great skill to build. That's the biggest thing for us there. We're in what used to be the cafe, now it's called the Village Hall, which is a lovely rustic space. Like you go in there, you feel like you're in someone's like big old cottage. It's really great. There's environmental factors at play that you have to be aware of. There's airplanes going over. It's right on the flight path. Tin roofs. We haven't yet, but I've always said even though we're inside and no one's going to get wet, if we had 10 minutes of heavy rain, we'd have to pause the show. For sure. Because you're not going to hear anything. We'll just take it easy and pick back up in 10. Yeah. We've had to do that in rehearsal sometimes. Yeah. So there's certainly environmental shifts. The other thing, I think something that changes for the audience experience is that you go out there and you aren't distracted in the same way by, you have a long time from the time you enter the park gates, you cross the bridge, you get parked, you walk up, it's really pristine, it's very quiet, except for the planes, which are intermittent, and you're surrounded by nature in a way that you're really kind of ready to focus on the play in a way that maybe you don't if you're in the middle of the city. So there's that kind of...
I like that,
That's something that the audiences kind of consistently look forward to. I'm going to say, when are you doing the Pioneer Village show? We've moved to June. Lots of practical considerations. We used to do it in July. July's getting too hot. Which is concerning. But for the time being, moving it to June means less chance of heat waves. Cooler, the days are a little longer still. There's those kind of considerations. And also the kind of plays we tell. A lot of times it's historical, or it's something that's very much reflects London and the culture of London and the rural culture around London too. That's kind of, there's some, picking the Pioneer Village play isn't just an arbitrary choice because there is a specific mandate at the Pioneer Village of kind of the stories they tell, which is London's past, but also the story of the community of London and Middlesex County.
Yeah.
So I spent a lot of time, and because we've done it for so long, we've done the World War I stories.
Okay.
We might do more.
Yeah.
The 1812 stories have been told. So it's given us the chance over time to get really creative about what kind of stories we tell that fit within that mandate. And the Pioneer Village is a really supportive and creative partner. They've always, I think, defied sometimes maybe the stereotypes around what people perceive museums being. It's always been a very active, alive museum with a lot of different. The thing I think people might be surprised by is how many different community stakeholders are involved at the Pioneer Village.
Yeah.
We go out there, we load in. There's people who garden every Monday. There's reenactors. There's people who know so much about historical baseball. There's weavers. It's a place where so many different corners of our city come together. People from the rural come there, and there's a lot of people invested in that place, and that's the strength of the place. And theater's part of that, and along with many other things. Yeah.
It's nice to see that passion for something that's not capitalism.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sure there's some tax kickbacks and all that kind of stuff, but at the same time, you could choose 1,000 different things to support, and that's what they do.
It's a huge asset to the city. It's a huge resource, and so many curators and executive directors there, over the last decade and a half, I'd say, have spent a lot of time to really make it the best it can be. So I think London needs to appreciate that we've probably got one of the best pioneer villages in the country.
That's well. Look, it has been a while. I will admit that it's been a while. It's my kids are all grown at this point, so I got to start finding a reason to go as an adult. So look, let's quick finish this up. The reason I do this show, and I may have said this to you before, is that motivation is my kryptonite. I can find motivation for certain things, but I have never found my thing. I'm doing this. This is awesome. I love it. But I've done theater. I've done photography. Blah, blah, blah. What is it about this? You've been doing this for how long now? Like
well,
just this?
Just the Alviga was in 18th season, and then before that I was doing bits and pieces.
So man, like you gotta love it.
Yeah.
So like, can you bomo that? Can you come up with like a why?
Yeah, it's a great question. The why. I think I think it brings. I think what happens is that you get to a lot of things get to intersect in theater. You've got. I love working with actors I haven't worked with before. Okay. I tell folks I've never, because some directors and some really prominent directors are kind of afraid of working with people for the first time, which bugs me. I've never regretted working with someone for the first time.
Nice.
Like, because they're also working really hard because they're kind of thrilled to be doing something.
Because they want to prove that they deserve to be there, right? So,
and you get to meet new people, and like you bring in 4 people with very different life experiences. They come into a room, and then you get to study life and study how people work, and that is exciting. And then you start bringing in the design elements. You start bringing in the research. Whatever play you do, you're gonna. For Loose, we researched a lot about boxcars and circus. You go, oh, that's fascinating. I didn't know this little detail of human history or natural history or whatever it is. Like you're always learning and building, and then the audience comes in, which is our wider community that we are a part of. And it's not they're there and we're there. It's we're inviting our friends, our neighbors. Strangers who we now will get to know by coming into this space and saying, hey, this is what we've been working on and we really want to share this with you and we're really glad you're here. And then everyone goes on an adventure for that night. I say I've been telling audiences at the start of our shows, because we do new plays and plays about London and plays and the region and plays by local and regional playwrights, is that I can safely say on a given night that the folks in the room with us are the only people on planet Earth who are seeing this play tonight. And that's really, like you are the 40 people, you are the 50 people. No one else on Earth tonight is having that experience you are
tonight's going to be different from tomorrow, and it was different from yesterday, and in whatever way it was. I like that very much. I like that. Sharing. sharing the experience. We'll quote Kate Bush.
Absolutely.
Adam, once again, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. We're going to get out. I'm going to bring the partner out. We're going to come out and see Pioneer Village, and you know what? Just see the show, because heck, why not?
Fantastic. Thank you.
No problem. Thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your night. Have a good day. Something.
That's great. Fabulous.